Hi and welcome to the channel. Today we will build another SFF PC using this K66 Air.
The K66 Air is a tall case that supports up to an M-ATX motherboard. Its main compromise is the CPU cooler clearance, limited to 75mm only. There's no support for AIOs, only flex PSUs are supported, and there are no fan mounts. GPU compatibility is similar to the C24 with just 5mm less clearance. However, the C24 can accommodate up to a 3-slot GPU. The trade-offs are reasonable considering that the K66 Air offers 43% less desk area usage and 25% less volume as compared to the C24. It is also very affordable at 2,165 pesos or around $40 US, and this includes PCIe 3 riser at that. The case alone costs 1,783 pesos or around $32 US.
This is the case itself. As for the front, it has a power button, USB 3, and an audio jack. At the rear, there's a cutout for the motherboard, a cutout for the flex PSU, and a cutout for the GPU. As you'll notice here, this has a weird layout where the GPU is beside the PSU. Inside, there's an included PCIe 3 riser, accessories kit. There's also a loose screw, and that's basically it. So I bought this with the riser. So the riser is an 18cm dual reverse riser. However, this is a PCIe 3 riser, so I will not be using this. I just wanted to know what kind of riser is needed, but here's the answer, a dual reverse 18cm riser. So as for the accessories, there's a handle which will go on the top here, a GPU riser bracket, I would assume, sticker feet, bunch of screws, a manual, I hope. Yeah, so this is a manual. Basically from here you can see that there's a riser here and it can fit an M-ATX motherboard as well, which is actually good in my opinion. Then there are screws. Yeah, based on this, I am missing one of these. Anyway, the side panel is secured by 4 screws and it's an acrylic side panel, so best to peel this now. The reason is that it will generate static electricity. Personally, there's advantage and disadvantage of acrylic side panels. The advantage is that it doesn't break, it's plastic. The disadvantage is that it will be hard to clean. Looks better, right? If it will be like this, it will look better. Anyway, some of the screws are inside the case. I think it fell off from the packaging. It's actually one single sheet and then they just folded it and then riveted the edges. Based from this layout, right, you can see that it is compatible with M-ATX with this set of screw holes to accommodate it, which is actually nice. I like this just because of that. This is already a good sign. It's a good budget SFF case. Based on the manual, assemble the motherboard. This is it. I assembled it already. This is the usual B650E-I from Asus. The CPU is a Ryzen 7 7800X3D. RAM is a G.Skill Trident Z5 Neo 32GB 6000 MHz CL30 RAM. Then this cooler is an EXP90-X67. The tolerance for the RAM is just right, as you can see here. It's just right. The manual is quiet on how to install this bracket, which is bad in a way. So what I'll do is I'll install the handle first, install the motherboard, and then install the PSU, and then install that bracket, and then proceed to step 5. To install this, you would need these two. So this screw and this nut, and basically anywhere. Just drop it there. Then, so once that you have installed one, you can install the other one here. We got my pliers. And then one thing that you might want to do as well is this point. It might be hard to reach the plugs here, so you might want to install it now. I mean the cables. Anyway, let's try that. As for the PSU, I'll be using this FSP FlexGuru Pro 500 watts gold power supply. The screw holes can accommodate for either orientation, so either this way or this way. For me, I'll go with this way, the plug at the bottom. The reason is that the cables will then be at the bottom. So there's no other good reason other than that. This is the CPU cable. Problem is that it might be too short because it will go to here. To here. I think it's too short. Even if I do it this way, still a bit too short. You might need extension cables, or for me, I'll just use this. This way it will be long. The other thing is this 24-pin cable. I'm not even sure if it will reach it as well. Oh, wow. That's just right. Anyway, I'll secure the motherboard first, then play it by ear. So I will use this usual motherboard screw with a crown. Then I'll also secure the PSU now. So I'll use the usual PSU screw and then secure the PSU. Then hope for the best. Plug this thing here. Make sure to press it. Anyway, time to plug some cables. So HD audio. The bad thing about HD audio is that it's too far. USB 3. And then the power switch. There's no power LED. Sorry, I forgot to introduce the cables. This is pretty much it. The next problem is this one. Why is it a problem is that there's no guide on where should it be. Anyway, that would be a guesswork. For now, I'll remove this so that I have a guideline. This doesn't have a screw hole, so the covers once removed are permanently removed. This is like a travel from the past. Haven't seen this kind of PCIe cover for a long time now. Anyway, for me to do this, I think I'll mount this here first. And this one here as well. I will then use a graphics card as the actual measure. For the graphics card, I'll be using this Zotac RTX 4070 Super Twin Edge. And the good thing about this Zotac card is that it blows to the top. So I don't need to mind that I might cover this part of the case. The flow-through is also non-existent. So that's another good thing for now. Then I guess I'll just place it here. Put it here. So I'll secure this one first, the bottom one. So there are two ways to secure it. I secure it from this side or on the bottom side. For me, it's easier to secure from the bottom side since I already have the graphics card there. And the placing is easier to see as well. It might look ugly that there's a protruding screw here, but that should be fine. For reference, you need to secure it on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th screw. I'm not sure if you can use the usual motherboard screw. Let me try that. Because I used the PSU screw. You can use the motherboard screw. So it's a bit slimmer. I guess to make it clear, right? You don't need a dual reverse riser. So for this type of cases, it's best to have a 90-degree right angle coming from the PCIe of the motherboard, and then the female part should be a reverse riser. For this, just plug the riser to the motherboard. Oh, there's a few more important cables left. And that is this one. Plug the PCIe power connectors. For cable management, since this is too tight already, it's best to actually use this as a rail and then tie the cables with this, which is what I'll do in a while. Let me just try this first.
One eternity later.
So I'm actually back. If you didn't notice, the motherboard is completely different now. The reason is that my Asus motherboard didn't boot properly. So after troubleshooting, I narrowed it down to the motherboard itself. Other than the motherboard issue, there are no other issues. As for the cable management, I just tied it down here. I don't want to tie it even further because the strain on the 24 pin is, I think it's already at its limit, so I don't want to strain it even further. But other than that, looks okay. It booted. Anyway, it's time to close this case. So looks okay. Maybe I'll show it in this way. Finally, I'm done. So it's already 4 a.m. Time to test this. I'm now in my test bench. Basically, I added these tissue here. So there's one here and there's one here. The reason is that the fan hits this side panel and it was unpleasant. It's not a sound that I wanted to hear. So I added this for precaution. Hopefully it works. Let's try now. So I started the benchmark. The fan will run now. I need at least this. So looks okay. Oh, it's still a bit loud. Yeah, anyway, looks okay.
As for the temps in Cinebench R24 after a 30-minute benchmark, the CPU temps averaged at 87.13 degrees Celsius. This is just a few degrees warmer as compared to the C24. For FF15 at 4K after a 30-minute benchmark, the CPU temps averaged at 68.63 degrees Celsius, and this is 6.69 degrees Celsius cooler than my C24 build. However, that C24 build wasn't fully optimized in my opinion. I believe I could have achieved better results there. As for the GPU temps, it averaged at 76.69 degrees Celsius. This is just 0.63 degrees Celsius cooler than my C24 build, which is within tolerable margin of error. Overall, the CPU temp difference is surprising in my opinion, and may warrant a retest of the C24 build, especially for further optimization and testing other CPU coolers. For my build comments, aside from the fans heating the side panel, the system is loud under full GPU load. This is likely because the power supply is nearing its 500 watts limit already. Based on FSP's calculator, my system's estimated requirement is 593 watts, a significant 93 watts over the PSU's rating. For this PSU, I suggest downgrading to more power-efficient components such as a Ryzen 5 9600X or a Ryzen 5 7600 Non-X, and paired with a more efficient GPU such as an RTX 4060. I also recommend using extension cables for the 24-pin and CPU power cables to help reduce cable stress. Overall, I don't have many complaints about the case itself aside from the non-reusable PCIe covers and the lack of cable management options. These are very minor issues, especially considering how affordable the case is. The looks are decent in my opinion, and there's also a mesh version available. However, I unfortunately missed out on it. Temperature performance is also acceptable. Again, I have no major complaints and would recommend this case for anyone looking to downsize their MATX setup to an SFF build as long as their GPU fits and within their power budget. Just note that finding a reliable higher wattage flex PSU is still a concern, so I suggest buying from a trusted and accessible retailer to ensure easier warranty support if needed. Anyway, that's it for this video. Do let me know in the comments on what you think of this build. Thanks for watching. Do like or dislike and subscribe for more unboxing, SFF builds, and benchmarks. Bye!